And it looks like we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Seth, and you are watching Mind Your Biz. If you're not subscribed, hit that button down below. Click the little bell icon and turn on all notifications. Why? Because, well, some guy on your computer screen or your phone screen told you to. That's literally the only reason I can give you. If you're tuning in for the first time, you subscribe to Mind Your Biz so you learn about 360-degree view of the cryptocurrency markets, as well as tips and tricks on how to be a more secure and safe user of cryptocurrencies, how to set up wallets, how to set up, well, hardware wallets, how to set up software wallets, how to set up full nodes, how to set up mining rigs, how to evaluate the best hardware that you can use within cryptocurrency, you know, the things that we actually have to put our hands on that help make cryptocurrency more secure and better for us as users. And, well, also just kind of hang out while we live stream too. That's right. Open Q&A. You can ask the questions that you want, and I will just answer them in a no-nonsense fashion. Well, sometimes with a little bit of wit and charm. I don't know. Varying degrees. We'll see how it goes tonight. But again, if you haven't hit that like button, please do. That is not financial advice, but you know it is. Well, nothing on this show actually. I gotta rein that back in, right? Reel it back, Seth. Yeah, I can't go giving financial advice on a show like this. In fact, I kind of have to red screen you. It's just part of the game. So, hey, just saying for the record, I am not your advisor, and you haven't paid me for advice. So even if I am saying things that sound like their advice, I'd have to be doing an endorsement versus advice to actually be breaking the rules of what it is that I do. I'm just going over stuff that interests me. Maybe it interests you too. So appreciate you playing along. And we got our Fear and Greed Index. This is the thing we always kick the show off with. Down to 61 from yesterday's 62, up from last week's 48. It's really gone up quite a bit. People are way too greedy, in my opinion. Why? Because the price of Bitcoin went up. It's like clockwork. People are like moths to a flame. But the other things that we see in the markets right now from the last week of price action is that Floki Inu is up. We got some other stuff like BitGet token that's up. Even Dash, an old school coin that's similar to Bitcoin, is also up. Market cap of just under $1 billion, but it's up 31%. Mina still on its way up. And others such as Immutable X, they were doing pretty well prior to this point. And then same with Render Token, also really doing well lately, probably in part because, well, GPU mining has nowhere else to go. So Render Token has plenty of headroom to improve user experience, especially with these RTX cards that have the option of doing some pretty amazing renders for distributed compute and for cloud rendering services. So let me go through our chat and see what we got. Kevin Hawthorne says, good evening from Lakeland, Florida. Kevin, thanks so much for spending some time with us. Chad Griffey says, MYB, you're the best. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks so much for that, Chad. Kind words, you know, really, really nice. Automatic Beat says, what's up, everyone? Paul D. Zutz says, I'm first. I did and firsts. And you know what? Provably true. Dave Flowers says, a little dump. Grabbed a little more of my favorite token. And I'm not going to say it out loud, but if you're reading, you know. All right. Let's see. Somebody says they took a nap and everything tanked like 5%. Sorry, Paul D. Paul D's nuts. And just happens sometimes. That's why you can't ever snooze. You can't ever sleep at all. I think that's what we're learning about life, is that if you ever sleep, that's when all the bad stuff happens. And then if you're ever awake, that's the only time any good stuff happens. Provably true. Nothing good in your life ever happens to you while you're asleep. And if it does, it's probably illegal. Anyway, Magic just popped up by 38%, or just kind of sort of corrected itself a little bit. Anyway, Hex also up 19%. Even Monero's up, a little privacy coin that could. Everything's got kind of a lift this week. So let's move from our crypto bubbles overview. I think, you know, I feel like throwing my phone on the ground. It's been one of those days. I'm not going to lie. One of those days. And I've de-Googled this phone, got myself a Pixel 6 Pro. Definitely enjoying it over my Pixel 4 XL. But yeah, let's take a look at our current blockchain, Bitcoin chart. I'm a tired guy today. I'm kind of a tired guy today. Doing a couple of things. Can't talk about most of it on stream, but I can say that the full node project is in full swing. This guy is in the same state that he was last time I streamed, but he's going to have a little companion, not a single board computer. I guess technically it is similar to a single board computer, but it's a little x86 micro PC or mini PC where I'm able to swap out directly one of the drives, or the drive it comes with, for a larger capacity NVMe or SATA drive like that, and have a full node that's running a full version of Windows or Ubuntu Linux. So stay tuned for that. We're going to do a comparison, pros and cons of getting into single board computers like the Raspberry Pi, which are now very overpriced, versus getting a little mini PC like I ordered, because they're actually, for the money right now, they're hard to beat by comparison. You wind up paying more actually for a Raspberry Pi than you would for a little device that has 4 cores and runs a full desktop operating system like Windows. So if you're used to that, and if you're telling yourself like, hey, I need a keyboard, mouse, and a monitor to be able to work with this stuff, then you're in luck. You don't have to just run a local development server. You don't have to access it through the browser or anything. You can totally do it a different way. And we're going to go over some of those options in the coming days. So stay on the lookout for that. Alrighty. I am going to try not to completely crap the bed while I just say the words. Here's our Bitcoin chart. Got it. All right. I got him out. And last couple of days have been very, very exciting. You remember how I said, hey, I'm pretty sure we're going to see some kind of a breakout to one side or another? Well, here we go. Massive green candle outside of that channel that we were defining from before. I don't know what it is about me putting the chopsticks on stuff. Sometimes when it looks like a sort of an even channel like that, we get these violent breakouts, and we saw it before as well. And it's not just because I'm putting chopsticks on the chart. It's not just because I'm drawing lines on a chart. It is because of the current financial situation. It is the current markets. Ozzy Bogan Tech is in the chat, says, I just sold a bit of Bitcoin at 24.8. So now I just needed to dump hard so I can get back in. LOL. Cesar says, look at that beautiful divergence. Oh, yeah. Well, actually, we're hitting a convergence event on the MACD, but yes. Yeah, big old boom, green candle, way breaking out of there. Paul D says, the Raspberry Pi 4s are very expensive, but they're also 5 years old. Man, way to make me feel old. I remember when they launched and we were all so excited and we were like, oh, finally, the Raspberry Pi 4. And yeah, here we are. Here we are. They're looking rather long in the tooth, and you can get something, like you're saying, the little mini PC that I bought actually technically has a newer chipset inside of it than the Raspberry Pi 4. So, I don't know, man. There are other options too. There's the Rock Pro 64, which is kind of what most full node creators, if you look at like Ronin Dojo or Citadel or any of these others that sell their own full node solutions, they all use the Rock Pro or the Pine boards, not anything from Raspberry Pi, because they're just too expensive, right? So we'll go over some of those options and we'll do a little buyer's guide, but I'm going to do a hands-on. I'm going to do a show and tell with at least these two options, right? I do also, this current show right now, I'm streaming from an Apple M1 device, an Apple Silicon device, which is another formidable option for running a full node. It's low power, it can be always on, and actually just syncing a blockchain is not the most taxing thing for a device that can be always on. And yeah, so that's another option as well, is just going with something that is already very low power and leaving it on at all times. The M1 device that I purchased specifically for doing streaming with is the Mac Mini. I wanted to do a little test, and I kind of wanted to do just a dedicated video where I talk about my findings so far, but I'm going to give you a little spoiler. It's been good. It's been a really good experience. Definitely far better than I've had with Windows in recent memory, other than, I guess, discovering scoop.sh, which has kind of helped with automating the install of stuff on Windows. But even still, not the same as being able to properly update by using a package manager on, say, like APT on Ubuntu, or like Homebrew on macOS. So it's been a much better experience is what I'm saying. If I nerded out a little too much for you, if you're not used to that kind of language, first off, welcome here. This is how we talk at MineYourBiz. So we're going to help you upskill just a little bit, improve your abilities in technology in general and in cryptocurrency. But if you didn't understand what I just said, it's okay. We're going to scale things back. And Mrs. MineYourBiz will be here before she leaves for her class tonight to just say hello and talk like a normal, sane person to you. Maybe walk me away from the ledge and walk you closer to it. I don't know exactly where that analogy is going, but she'll be here in a minute. She has a very calming influence, which is great because Lord knows I could use it. But our chart right now, yes, beautiful divergence, boom, breaking out to the upside. And we stay just on the 1 day chart because going beyond that 1 day chart, that's just not a skill set that I feel is I can master, right? I'm just not there yet. And technical analysis for all its value is not something that for me is actionable yet. Just it may as well be voodoo. There we go. And thank you in advance for sharing the link while we are live. Appreciate that as well. But that's our chart. Broke out to the upside. Looks like we had, I mean, we can take that 1 day candle and we can delete this this correction to the downside. Actually, it looks kind of interesting. I mean, there's no good reason why I think in my mind why I wouldn't just trace the bottoms of these candles here. And I see what I think is a pattern right there across these red candles and the same here. So yeah, I mean, maybe there's an entirely different fractal that I can just take a look at there. Fractal? No, that's not the right term at all. Maybe there's an entirely different vector, right, that I can trace, a different line that I can draw. And I don't want to oversell, right, my abilities here. This is just something that I do for kicks, but that kind of puts all of this as the oddball. It makes that the channel, right? Makes that the trend. Maybe that's accurate. Tell me what you think in the comments. Do you think that it's even possible that Bitcoin will move upwards across that channel? I don't know. I'm not convinced. I do think we have that leg down. I do think that we get a lot closer to the mid-teens, and we see an opportunity to see some discounted Bitcoin again before it runs back up and goes, genuinely parabolic for a significant amount of time. Then again, I mean, on the daily chart, that is technically parabolic over here, right? In that range right there. That is a parabola. But yeah, we can potentially, maybe we can see a little bit more of an upward trend. You tell me what you think. In my mind, I think what I'm doing again with this chart here, with these lines with the chopsticks there, is probably setting myself up to see another breakout to the downside on that trend. So we can, if it continues along that line, cool. But will it go longer than maybe a couple of weeks? I mean, like, I'm not going to be the guy that pretends to use a specific type of technical analysis tool or what's the word I'm looking for, or trading tool, right? So another trading indicator on top of TradingView here to tell you that it's definitely going to move in that range before it makes any kind of a move. Nick Flip, FLP is in the chat using the thinking emoji. And then Cesar says, I believe it's rejecting at some point and coming back down to form a base around 16 to 19K. I'm on board with that particular that particular hypothesis. I think I can get behind what you're saying there for your trading thesis. Flat Smack says that the bulls are farting on bears. It's another bear trap, he says. Or she. We don't actually know. I don't want to assume. The Goblin Dude says, howdy doody. Good to see you in the chat. Thank you so much for sharing this while we were live. Let's go back to that chart, though. We're leaving it locked in right there. We're not going to overcomplicate things. We never do. That's why we have the mining chopsticks here. We don't overcomplicate things. We just say, all right, it could be moving in this direction, and then we will leave it at that. All right, the one thing that we have done, and we zoom way back out if you're new to the channel, is that we have identified some large ranges based on the history of this most recent bull run, right? The most recent bull run showed us there were some sort of general ranges that if you got in at this point, you would have done well at the next leg up. And we know that because it's in hindsight, right? There's no way to mess that up. So it's not some kind of foresight that we have. We didn't predict that it would go here. We're looking in the past and saying, okay, well, between these two tops, right? Between these two tops, that's a really great area there. That's a really great area there. And down here is probably our DCA range. And you know what? It served us pretty well, where that was our most recent rejection point on the way up to those new all-time highs. And it wound up being a not half bad DCA point moving down, even 30K, right? Some people would think, oh my gosh, I guess 30K, that's good for DCA, for dollar cost averaging. Well, if you believe that Bitcoin is going to go to 100K, then What argument do you have against dollar cost averaging at 30K and below, right? Unless you're into really high frequency trading, which if that's you, I mean, really, heaven help you, because I don't know how to. That's not a skill that I possess. So that's why we keep it very simple. We look at very, very broad ranges here, and we just dollar cost average to keep things simple. Frankly, mining itself is a dollar cost average strategy. Technically, it's a dollar cost average strategy with a subsidy based on the cost of power, the cost of electricity. So that's what we built this channel on, is that core concept right there, that investing strategy, that investing thesis, is that mining, if you have the means to do it, will help you get exposure to cryptocurrencies, especially Bitcoin, in a dollar cost average fashion, little bit by bit, either daily payouts, weekly payouts, etc. So you kind of need to know when the best time is, the dollar cost average, and how to scale, whatever else. Mine10 says mining for the win. The Goblin Dude says, I also want to thank you again, MYB, for letting me know about the Nostr client, Iris. It is super sleek and damn cool. Hey, you're welcome. We probably need to do a video just on Nostr, don't we? Or Nostr. There's a lot of stuff that I've been dabbling with that I don't always have time to make content about. And I'm so sorry, audience. There's stuff that I absolutely captivates my attention and my thought and my time and my heart, and that I just don't always have time to make the content on. Case in point, I'm building, assisting in building some websites right now that are for NFT projects. And they're pretty darn cool. They do some really neat things. I was on a Twitter space the other day with a community that's been minting an NFT project entirely on Bitcoin using the new ordinals and inscriptions model. It's bleeding edge stuff. And I mean, if I do the whole clickbait, thumbnail with my mouth open, and I did a thing, I touched something on the dark web. Like, I could do that, but I just don't, I don't have enough hours in the day to do that and then also actually learn about this stuff, if that makes sense. But I am doing the best I can to bring value to you. So maybe I'll be able to bring some of that. I think the hardware guides are going to be a little more evergreen for a while, because a year from now, 2 years from now, people are going to need to know the difference between getting a single board computer and getting a mini PC. So we're going to do some of that stuff that I know will be helpful to our community years down the line, including the spreadsheet that I debuted almost 5 years ago. It's still useful if you go back and look at how it works and you use it. So that's the kind of content that I like making for you. And of course, we cover the news too, because you need to know. And I'm here. Thank you for being here with me to bring you through that and talk through some of the ramifications. So if you haven't already, if you're new to the stream right now, stop what you're doing. Share this on Twitter, Reddit, and of course, in your favorite Discord and Telegram channels, and say, hey, this crazy guy, he's just so crazy at my work, this crazy guy is talking about cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, and he has a really cool hat. There's not much else, that's really cool about him, but he's got a really cool hat, and you can come and listen to him. But that's our chart. Let's take a look at the current stats on miningpoolstats.stream. We see that Bitcoin, the king daddy, difficulty has not adjusted just yet. We've got another, I think, few days before the difficulty adjustment, and that's going to be fun to see the difficulty versus the price adjust over there. This is a tool that anybody can use, miningpoolstats.stream. And you can use this to figure out whether or not it's the right time for you to mine certain kinds of cryptocurrency. The Biomech says, yo, right back at you. Appreciate you being here. Hey, fam, thank you so much for your support. Totally appreciate that. But the cost to mine one full Bitcoin, we've got all of the key base variables here in the calculator, so we know what we're working with on sort of a mid-tier Antminer Bitcoin ASIC, right? And at about 3,500 watts and 140 terahash and a 1% pool fee and 8-cent power, we're doing a $15,000 Bitcoin. Not that bad. Even, Cesar, who's joining us in the chat, said that he was hoping we'd see $16,000 to $19,000 Bitcoin. That means that if you got access to 8-cent power, there's still a case for mining Bitcoin at a profit and in your home. Crazy, right? Because you're mining it for about $15,000 for one full Bitcoin, give or take. So you should consider it. I really do think that mining, especially ASIC mining, is something almost anybody can get into. And I am looking at getting the correct components for us to do that space heater review of the Antminer S9. Somebody forwarded me a link to look at a bunch of Antminer S9s that were like a pallet load of them. And that wasn't really what I signed up for. But if that's what it takes, then maybe that's how I get a hold of what I need for this tutorial. And then maybe, just maybe, we figure out a way to unload the remaining, whatever, 35 or 40 of those Antminer S9s that are on the pallet. Because I'm not going to run 40 Antminer S9s today. That's just not how I'm going to make my life, right? It just feels like a lot. Martin's in the chat, says, thank you for your time and content. Really useful. Appreciate you so much, Martin. Thank you. Thank you for that. The kind words. Let's go over to what to mine and see right now that with the typical 4090 top of the line by NVIDIA RTX, if we calculate again at 8 cent power and we run the averages here, right? So profitability by 7 days and average for revenue by 7 days, and put some kind of a filter on the trading volume for the results that we get back. And again, why would we do that? We do that because we want to make sure there's enough volume being traded these coins that if we had to, we could sell them or trade them or just know that anybody gives a crap about them, instead of them being so obscure that we can't do anything with them for, another 6 to 18 months, depending on whether or not they ever gain a value. And it's kind of a risk, right? It's speculative mining, but some people get a little bit too involved in spec mining. And what to mine is not really the right tool for looking up your spec mining plays. Looks like Conflux is doing about $1.14 in profit per day, which is great to see anything over $1. And then Alephium is just under 50 cents. So is Conceal. Not super awesome for GPU mining right now. And if we look at the stacked ranking of GPUs, we can see from the very top, and we'll go back to our 8 cent per kilowatt hour power, that from the very top and sorting from profitability every 24 hours actually gives us a very different picture. It shows us that the RTX 4090 corrects to about 80 cents per day in actual profit, and that going down the line, there are a lot of GPUs that we thought should be profitable that are absolutely not profitable. The 6600 XT is kind of the cutoff line. The 6600, I guess, kind of the cutoff line for any profitability at all. So unless you're interested in, heating your home at a net neutral value, then you're not going to run a whole lot of these. That said, hey, nothing wrong with heating your home at net neutral costs, right? You pay for your heater to kick in and you pay for that, right? I know it's only gas power, so it's a little less expensive than running electricity, but you figure if that's entirely paid for, that's not half bad, right? In the winter to heat your home essentially for free. And then if you want to hold on to some of that, basically hold on to some coins and maybe make some profit. All right, everything else though in the red, but not by much, really not by all that much. It's when you have these in a larger rig that you start to see those losses kind of stack on top of each other. But that's GPU mining in a nutshell. Let's take a look at TX Street, see if we can get some blocks to load up right now. Looks like the median transfer fee on Ethereum is not that bad. Transfer fee on Bitcoin is still kind of high, being at about $1. That's higher than we're normally used to paying, but it is likely because of ordinals, these NFTs that are launching and trading on Bitcoin. They haven't slowed down. Did you know there's about 500,000 of those ordinals on Bitcoin right now, those inscriptions on Bitcoin right now? Yeah, about 500,000 NFTs that are being forced onto the Bitcoin blockchain. And the maximalists are not very happy about it, but the NFT people are ecstatic and they're just eating it up. We'll see how much longer that trend continues. Do you have one? If I released one, would you be interested in having a limited edition ordinal or inscription from MineYourBiz? Because I've had some teams ask me if I would now. So, and I know what the tooling is like to go and do that. But tell me in the comments if you're interested in that, because, hey, maybe we'll make it happen. But yeah, there's a huge low fee line as well, huge pile up. It's getting worked through though. In the mempool, it looks like it's far less congested than it was the last time we tuned in for Bitcoin. And it looks like, yeah, at this point, over 5,000 transactions stuck in the mempool for Bitcoin. Not typical behavior for Bitcoin, but here we are. All right, let's get into the news. Before we do you have any questions for MineYourBiz or for Mrs. MineYourBiz tonight? It's going to be kind of a short and tactical live stream like it was on Tuesday, because I am pretty much slammed with stuff to get back to, and I'm in my element. I'm doing good work, meaningful work, but yeah. So appreciate you being supportive and here with me and spending this time. But if you got questions, let me know. The Goblin Dude says, if they're cool and unique, maybe. All right, fair enough. Here's the thing. NFTs are NFTs. They're not for everyone. So Anybody else have strong opinions on it? Either way, let me know. If it's a thumbs up, great. If it's a thumbs down, also great. Just let me know if you're interested in it at all. And we'll find a way to either make it happen or we'll just shut that down. All right. Polygon-powered Trump digital trading card NFT floor prices hit all new all-time high as sales rise. Now, if you missed this from before, apparently the former President Donald Trump released an NFT trading card series that did phenomenally well. People didn't expect it to do as well as it did, but he totally killed it. Like, after it sold, it did 400% and its floor price just shot right up. Anybody who got any of those NFTs basically printed money for themselves. In about 24 to 48 hours, people took 4 to 5x their money, their initial investment. You can't predict this stuff, and it's really irresponsible to say that you should. But man, in retrospect, it seems like whatever he was doing, it just worked really well, but it hasn't stopped. The pricing keeps going up. Don't know why. So they've gone up now at this point to about 0.6799 ETH. So a little over $1,000 at current Ethereum pricing. And yeah, originally they were 0.33 or a little over $500. So they've pretty much doubled in their price. It's crazy. It's crazy. But the most important part of this story in my mind is that they were launched on Polygon network, not on Ethereum. And they were made accessible by purchasing with a credit card. Most people, even when they want to get into blockchain, they need to use stuff that's familiar for them, something like a credit card or a debit card. And so I take that away from this whole, like watching this whole project launch as the main takeaway. So anyway, yeah, there's some spitballing about whether or not there should be a follow-up in the chat. That I think you guys are onto something, maybe. All right, in more serious news, a flash loan exploit is what took down Platypus USD. Apparently, yeah, the Platypus USD stablecoin, it lost its peg because there was a flash loan attack. And, you know, you don't normally expect to see this, but these days I feel like we probably should. It seems like stablecoins are the subject of serious attacks, possibly from agents provocateur or from other, you know, from other bad actors. So be careful. Try not to stay in stable coins, I guess. But I think that's also what Uncle Sam wants, is for you to just stay afraid of stable coins. It's a little bit frustrating, and I wish that we didn't have to worry about this so much. But there you have it. Be very cautious about what you hold. USDC is clearly making a bid to become the de facto standard for stablecoins, but I think we can do better personally. All right, Crypto Mom, aka Hester Pierce, is apparently against the SEC's new crypto custody rules. And let's see. The SEC voted to propose new amendments affecting rules around crypto custody in the United States. And of course, our favorite Crypto Mom Commissioner Hester Pierce says she's not a fan. And let's go back, get the record straight here. Gary Gensler apparently said that, well, it needs to expand the scope. And apparently Gary Gensler said, beware, even if a crypto company claims that they custody your assets, it's not the same as qualified custody, which is just a joke. What is qualified custody? Having some kind of a central bank backed or FDIC insured custodian of your fiat currencies? We know for a fact that those reserves are not even close to 100% of what they say they're supposed to have. It's not even half. It's not even 15% most of the time. Occasionally, if you're very, very lucky, it's up to 15% of the amount that banks say they have that they actually carry. So we're supposed to believe that qualified custody is better? I just don't believe that. All righty. Yeah, I'm going to run an update while we are live. Is it a risk? Yeah, maybe. Apparently, Hester Pierce was the only commissioner to object the amendments, believes the new rule will create new risks for crypto holders as it caused the number of qualified custodians to shrink. Such rules, she said, will cause investors to remove their assets from custodians that already have safeguarding procedures in place. She also took issue with the assertion in the SEC's release that most crypto assets are likely to be funds or crypto asset securities covered by the current rule. In Pierce's view, it is not true that most crypto assets are securities, despite Chairman Gensler's claims to the contrary. More generally, the sweeping just about every crypto asset as a security statement also seems to be part of a broader strategy of wishing complete jurisdiction over crypto into existence, she added. She's not wrong. Go, crypto mom. Go, Hester Pierce. You are exactly who we need to have as the chair, doing the good work that you do. Paul D asks, did Tether become the least sketchy and clear and not clearly evil centralized stablecoin? I'm glad you asked, because in my view, I think that I trust it more than USDC. I think that I trust it to be to act evil less than USDC, but I kind of trust BUSD in the same way. Is that weird? BUSD I have some issues with because they've got this seigniorage problem where they're able to print it over at the exchange where it's also traded. So there's a huge issue there. Like how is Binance potentially cooking the books to make sure that there are enough BUSD running in circulation? I don't know, and I'm not sure that we'll ever know. And I realize that it's not just Binance that does that. I realize that it is Pax Global, or is it Paxos? Sorry, Paxos that actually issues the BUSD stablecoin. But you know what I'm saying, right? A lot of it lives on Binance, so there's definitely some potential, I scratch you back, I scratch your back, you scratch mine between those two. Definitely some quid pro quo, I think, or it's possible there's some quid pro quo going on between Paxos and between Binance, the exchange. If they're holding so much of the BUSD current circulating supply on a centralized ledger, a centralized exchange, if it's just order book crypto there, then how do we know how much of it is being repurposed and rehypothecated on that exchange? Because Paxos can truthfully say, look, our audits stand up. They're good. And then Binance can still rehypothecate the supply on their centralized exchange, right? And effectively, maybe doubling, not quite doubling, because there's a lot out in the wild too, but effectively maybe adding 30% to the coin supply. We wouldn't know, right? We would never know. And so I have some issues with that with BUSD. And I'm not saying that that's definitely the case. I don't mean to FUD. I don't mean to say there's anything wrong with Binance. I just mean to say that BUSD versus Tether, I actually trust Tether more. And that's crazy. I wouldn't have imagined myself saying that. But yeah, here we are. Hey, Gandalf Gray says, I'm late running some 30 amp circuits. Heck yeah. That's great. They better be 220 volt or I'll be very disappointed. I'll be truly, truly sad. But that's amazing. Glad that you're running those 30 amp circuits at your house. Home improvement is great. And mining warehouse improvement, also pretty great. Whew. Sorry if I'm on the struggle bus as far as just getting the words out. I need to either sleep more or eat more or, thank you, be joined by Mama Biz. Look at this. Look at dinner, boys. It's great.
Hello, miners.
Yeah. Yeah, your mic is on, sweetie. All right.
Is it hot?
Yeah, mic is hot.
Are you sure? I don't even see it.
Yeah. Stop. Don't do that.
Sorry.
Yeah. So, yeah. You're good, though. You're good. It's right there. See? That's your view meter.
At least I didn't blow into it.
Yeah, that's true. You didn't do that, but she got right on top of it right here, and then she clicked her mouth.
What's wrong with that? It's not that bad. So sensitive.
Mics are very sensitive. That's true.
I was talking about you.
That's not true. It's provably not true.
Not sensitive at all.
Not even a little bit.
Not even ticklish.
Ask these fine gentlemen here. No, not remotely. All right, so we've got some other news that I think is relevant, and that is that Compute North's plan for liquidation of remaining assets is approved by the court. Now, Compute North is an institutional grade miner, and when you read the headline about, is it miner capitulation? Are we seeing miner capitulation? That's what I'm referring to. We might actually be seeing, well, this is not a sign of global capitulation among mining institutions, but this is one of those signs of poor health in the mining ecosystem. And we saw this as well when we checked the price of GPUs and the price of used ASICs. It's already rebounding a little bit. It's already recovering a little bit. But they're doing these liquidations. That's how I found this pallet load of Antminer S9s. And we might find pallet loads of others as well. That there are several of these groups that are just getting rid of their old ASICs. And they have to do it in this way at auction. So we'll see. We'll see what else we find there. I view it as a very good sign for us, right? Like when we see red, right? When the markets are red, we see green, don't we? Right? We're developing that sensibility.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's what we're seeing right now with the mining hardware ecosystem. But here's some other corporate news as gathered by Mrs. MineYourBiz. TrueFi's True Token rallies over 200% after Binance TUSD mint sparks speculation. Why do they got to do all that alliteration? It's fun.
Well, it was just funny because I guess everyone mixed up the True Token with the Binance token.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, True USD is totally a different. Oh my gosh, they might have even spelled it incorrectly.
That's how I saw it spelled in another article, so I think it's right.
Yeah, maybe. That's funny though. Well,
are we making you guys hungry?
Probably.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, thanks for that. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So, let's see. Whoa. Minted $50 million of True USD stablecoin. What? Huh. We were just talking about Paxos. Well, there you go. Maybe they're already answering some of the concerns that I've had for months and that the SEC is now starting to voice. We'll see. But very interesting. Look out for TUSD. So apparently, Binance has also transferred $400 million from its U.S. partner to a Zhao-run firm. So CZ is not very comfortable leaving things in the States. And I can't say I blame him, right? Wouldn't you be a little nervous if you saw the SEC closing in and saying they want to steal your stuff?
Why would that make you nervous?
No reason. Just that the federal government has this nasty habit of ruining people's lives.
What?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. They steal your stuff, throw you in jail.
No.
Make false accusations.
The land of freedom does that?
No, well, you're right. I think maybe I've misunderstood. That's literally never happened. Okay. Moving on. Well, CZ just is very anxious then. He's just very paranoid, we'll say. So all that stuff is being moved around. But there you go. CZ is also making a stablecoin prediction following the SEC's little enforcement action against BUSD. And let's see, he said, stablecoins are still important. Most people's costs are still in fiat currencies. And so when they calculate returns, ROI, etc., when they calculate prices today, most people use US dollar prices for crypto because US dollar stablecoins are the most popular and the largest. And he's talking about internationally, right? Even if you are in China and you measure your regular expenses in the yuan, or you're anywhere else in Europe and you have the euro, or, in Great Britain and you still think everybody else should use the pound like you. So
sorry, Britain.
I know.
Pound is just not going to replace the dollar for now.
Should somebody tell him? Should somebody go tell the UK that? Yeah.
I don't know. That leads into weird conversations about the superiority of British outlet plugs.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, everything.
It turns into a weird conversation about how the Brits have everything right. What I will say is you get some things right, but that's no, maybe not everything. So yeah, stablecoins almost always in US dollar denominations. And apparently, I agree with them. I totally agree with them. We would not have seen $20,000 Bitcoin at the end of 2017 if it were not for Tether. Wouldn't have happened because it would have been impossible to trade it with the kind of volume on exchange that you could have without incurring capital gains if you didn't have a cryptocurrency stablecoin counterpart.
I see some people reacting to that.
Yep.
What are they saying about it?
Well, Paul D says, Circle just launched their Euro stablecoin, I think. It's possible. It's possible they have. It would have taken them a long time to finally get. Most Euro stablecoins have been rejected, right? The proposals have been rejected. So we'll have to check to see if that's true. And we'll have something for you on the next live stream. Tonight, before we let you go, let's finish these last couple of articles. The SEC files fraud lawsuit against Terraform Labs and Do Kwon. Yeah, no, that's not from last year. This is not a headline from last year. This is current today, only an hour ago.
Way to be on top of things, SEC.
I know.
I'm glad they were so responsive to this travesty of justice.
Yeah, it's so
from
crazy.
April of 2018.
Dude, yeah, right? No, that's not quite. That's not quite accurate. Yeah, no.
The relevant period.
They're calling it the relevant period, but it's not really when the nastiness began. Still, I think that it's a little bit funny that they're all emboldened to do it now after they caught SBF, and they're like, oh, now we're on the war path. We can Get rid of these scammers.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
After taking some photo ops with SBF, right?
It's kind of crazy. Yeah, right? The way these people operate. But apparently, the court filing on the lawsuit reads, from at least April 2018 through May 2022, the relevant period, Terraform and Quan offered and sold crypto asset securities in unregistered transactions and perpetrated a fraudulent scheme that led to the loss of at least $40 billion of market value, including devastating losses for U.S. retail and institutional investors.
Wow, good to know they actually care about the retail investors.
Yeah, right. They definitely do. They actually care. They totally care about us. They care about us, MineYourBiz.
I'm feeling the love.
Yeah, that's why they're doing this, because they care about us.
My mouth is full.
All right. That's what she said. So apparently, the commission seeks a final judgment ordering permanent injunctions restraining and enjoining defendants from again violating the federal securities laws described herein. Oh my gosh. They must pay disgorgement.
Disgorgement?
Yeah.
Is that a typo?
No, that's the thing.
They had to disgorge. They were too engorged.
That's to pay disgorgement, but also with prejudgment interest, ordering defendants to pay civil money penalties. I love the way it's worded. It's just funny because legal speak is so different from the way we normally talk about, hey, pay a fine.
Right.
Like, you got to pay a fine. They have to go out of their way to tell you exactly how the fine is structured, where it's like, no, you must pay disgorgement with prejudgment interest and civil money penalties. It's just like, dude, just say a fine. You must pay a fine.
Not specific enough.
It's not, I know. But it's still funny that it's so different, right? Because we can just say, it's a fine. It's a fine. And it's defined 3 different ways. But anyway. Oh my gosh. Paul D is going out of his way to educate and say disgorgement is giving up ill-gotten gains.
See, it is specific.
It is specific, I know. But at the same time, it's like, dude, you can't bleed a stone. When you talk about the way that Luna imploded, the fact that there was a complete death spiral in their algorithmic stablecoin, it's like, dude, pay disgorgement. Prove that there are still funds that they have that were ill-gotten, right? That they were stolen, as opposed to having the entire algorithmic stablecoin system implode, because that's very, very different. Totally different. Like, there are other groups that have failed in terms of their business model that have hurt American investors that didn't get, demanded to pay disgorgement because they failed as a business. Kind of weird, I think. Anyway. But that is our show for tonight. We do have the portfolios. We could go over the portfolios. MineYourBiz, I'm just going to call it a night.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just tired.
Okay.
It's I'm sorry to do this to you. I'm actually that tired. I almost feel like I can't continue with the show tonight because I'm just like not focused enough and
no portfolios for you.
Yeah, that's the upshot of it all.
He's like the soup Nazi tonight.
Yeah, I'm like the portfolio Nazi.
No soup for you.
Yes.
No portfolio for you.
None. I'm the
Yet.
Yes, I'm the portfolio Nazi for you schlemiels.
Was he Russian? Sorry, he
What's
probably
that?
wasn't Russian.
I forget.
I can villainize Russians. It's allowed right now.
Yeah, it is back in vogue. But you can always villainize Nazis. That's never gone out of vogue. It's only ever been funny in the 1960s when we were trying to laugh it all off.
Or cry about it on the streets of Berlin.
That's why you had to laugh, because everyone was still crying, because there were people alive that remembered it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's been our show. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for hitting that thumbs up, being subscribed, sharing the link. It makes such a difference when you do. I know you hear me say it, and you're like, how much difference could it really make? It does make quite a difference. So thank you for doing that. You're the reason to make this media. I love your face. Remember to stay private and mind your biz.